Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Also, if you're looking for a unique gift for the holiday season, check out the Compliance Kids series.
It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes.
The Daily Compliance News for December 2nd, 2022, the Committed to Compliance edition. And we begin that story with the Channel News Asia.com, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, which reports that Adani Group founder Gottman Adani responded Saturday that his company is committed to compliance. Well, that's certainly a very interesting way to put things. Perhaps they found religion. Perhaps they think it's a good thing to say at this point in their relationship with the U.S. justice system. Nevertheless, they are committed to compliance. Next up, TD Bank continues its attempt to recover from its devastating anti-money laundering enforcement action by hiring Georgia Stavardis from Royal Bank of Canada to become Vice President of Financial Crimes Risk Management, a newly created role. She was previously the Chief Compliance Officer at HSBC-Canada and moved over to RBC when it acquired HSBC's Canadian unit. Next up, from Bloomberg, the Trafigura trial is moving forward in Switzerland, and it's really going to put the Swiss commodity trading industry on trial. And the culture of that trading industry, if you've ever been around traders, you know it's a pretty interesting culture. And if you go back to the Enron days where they gutted the energy services in the state of California so they could make an extra buck, just how ethically challenged many of them are. And finally, from the Indian Express, also a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, it looks at the latest in China's corruption purge of senior military officials in the People's Liberation Army and what it might mean for China, India, and indeed the rest of the world. Is the President Xi Jinping trying to remold the PLA in his own image? Is it a corruption wave of investigations that's gone completely out of control? It's going to be a very interesting time for the PLA, but in this heightened era with the upcoming, or incoming, I should say, Trump administration, it's certainly going to be important for cool heads to be on both sides of the Pacific and the Atlantic for countries with nuclear missiles. So the purge of the PLA continues from the Chinese Communist Party, and we'll continue to monitor corruption in China.
At the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.